Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm afraid I did it again. I know I made a promise that I was going to get the camera and take video as I progress, and I totally forgot yesterday. I just came out of the house and was excited to get to work. I forgot completely about grabbing the camera and the stand. And well, I'm gonna show you the progress that I made. So unfortunately you won't get to see any live action, but I will explain here a little bit what's going on. So first things first, one thing I will tell you is as I am performing this operation, if you want to call it that, I am actually making a list of everything that I need to get as it comes apart. I think it's easier to do it that way because basically a lot of this stuff that will get replaced or whatever, I mean, I'm not necessarily throwing it away yet, but I'm tossing it to the side, and later I don't want to have to go through the idea of like, okay, now did I need to replace this or not, or what do I need to do here? As I'm doing this, I'm writing the list down. You know, I need some screws, interior screw kit, I need probably a new shifter T-handle if I'm going to use that shifter, etc., because that one there was stripped out, so on and so forth. So just, it's always a good idea, I think, to write a list, and it keeps you organized. And, you know, when you start a project like this, you get pretty deep into it, and before you know it, a lot of time will pass. Sometimes, if you got to stop, a lot of time will pass and you don't know where you're at. But anyway, one of the things that I did yesterday, as you can obviously see, we have taken the carpet out of here. I removed the carpet, and a lot of things were surprising. Well, first of all, I found an old toy plastic gun. It operated on a 9-volt battery, and when you pull the trigger, it just goes bang, basically. I found it underneath my driver's seat. I had no idea that that was in here. I don't even really remember much about it, or if I remember anything about it actually in high school. I have no idea how that got in here. But at any rate, there was a plastic toy gun underneath my driver's seat. I did also find the build list for the car right over there. Unfortunately, it was way too far gone, as in, you could see it was a build list, you could see it was a piece of paper, you really couldn't read anything on it, and it was really wet because of all the pressure washing that I had done over the weekend, you know, on the floor, pushing it up through, and it got wet inside here, which brings me to my next point. I've had the carpet out of this car before several times, and again, that's 20 years ago, when I was laying all my, as you can see, my speaker wires and all that kind of stuff. And but I never did pull up this black rubberized sheeting, I guess, and it has like some fiberglass insulation underneath it or whatever. And so I never really knew how badly or not it was rusted. And as you can see, it's got some rust, but this is pretty solid. This is going to easily clean up with a wire brush, and we'll be able to put the POR 15 on there and seal this up no problem. I also had to actually remove these plugs here because of the fact that my subframe connectors underneath the floor they were pushing up against the screws that hold them down. So, but the main reason why I'm really removing the carpet and everything is, first of all, I know I need to replace the carpet. It's not in bad shape, but it's a very low quality carpet. I'm very certain it's not the original one. But it needs to come out, and I want to get a nice one because a buddy of mine has a Mustang, and he just bought I believe some carpet from, I believe it's CJ's Pony Parts, and it's really nice carpet. But while we're here, check this out. That's where the seat belt used to be attached to the floor. So I've always known that this car has been wrecked, and I think we now have evidence that they were wearing their seat belts when it got wrecked. I guess, I don't know. I've actually had a couple of experts come over and take a look at my car and do some measurements as far as is the frame straight, and we have determined that yes, the frame is straight. So we are going to weld in the subframe connectors here pretty soon. Of course, that is the other reason why I'm removing the carpet, because I will be doing some welding underneath, and we don't want to burn the carpet up and catch it on fire. Mainly, it's not that I care about the carpet because I'm replacing it, but we don't want to catch it on fire. The other thing is, this is the seat fixture, I guess you might say, and it is, you know, it has some heat welds right here that's how they weld it, factory spot welds, I guess, factory. And what I plan to do with this is drill these spot welds out, and I'm going to remove this. The reason why is because if it's this rusty here, then it's probably just as rusty underneath here. And so what I want to do then is just remove this, and then I want to get underneath there and POR that, and then I will POR this thing, and I will put it back on, and then I will clamp it down pretty good, and I'll go ahead and re-tack weld right at those spot welds, basically. Some people would say, well, you know, that could cause cracks later, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm putting subframes in, and I've done a lot of welding over my years, and I'm not worried about it. So that's my answer to that. Now, speaking of subframes, this is the reason why you put subframes in. We're getting cracks here on this one, as a matter of fact. Right there, see that? Yeah, there's a lot of torque when you know, step on it and all that other kind of stuff with your heavy lead foot. And because these cars have a subframe up in the front and a subframe in the back, but nothing in between, it's the floor pan, the doors, and the roof that do all the work. And as you can see there, it certainly started twisting here enough to where it started cracking that. And believe it or not, my seats brackets are also broke, so that could also be a reason why we need subframe, because I think the torque and everything was twisting up into my seats. Now I want to take you underneath, and I want to show you the Tin Man subframe connectors. I believe I got them at Jegs is where I got them. I actually did call them personally though, and talk to them about this, and very, very happy with the way these things are going in. Basically, you take the front subframe area and you just cut out the ends right there, which yeah, it looks, I mean, I made it look easy, I suppose, but honestly, I took a big old grinder and I just had to cut all that off, and there was spot welds were everywhere. And then right here, this was actually a piece of metal that was folded over like so, and the same on the other side. So it was actually quite a deal to cut, but nonetheless, we got through it. And then this slides right in there like that. And then with the 1973 1 through 3, which is the 71, this is supposed to have some tension. So like when I pull it down, see, it wants to spring outward, and in order to get it up there, I've got to actually jerk on it and then lift up on it just like that. So to be honest with you, this is how it's supposed to fit. And I will say that over here on the driver's side, you can kind of see right here, there's a little bit of a gap right there. It doesn't really, this part here doesn't really sit flat right there like I would like it to. However, it was worse than this, okay? I honestly think that this bend right here, maybe in their jig fixture or whatever, I think they bent that too far, because this gap right here was almost a half, 3/4 of an inch. It was pretty wide. And so I took it in and put it in my vise, and I used a torch bloom, and I got this red hot all the way around, and I actually put a tape measure on that end against, you know, from the wall that is next to my vise to that end right there. And then I took heated this up. I had this in the vise, and then when I got it red hot, I reached down and I grabbed, you know, that end over there, and I pulled on it, and I think I moved it over, I believe, if I correctly remember, about an inch and a half or so, something like that. And it made a big difference. I mean, you can see now the gap is only 1/4 of an inch. And then, of course, the plan is we're going to take and put a jack under here and push up on it. And then when we do that, this seam right here will go right up against the torque box like it should. And then we'll try to put a clamp, you know, somewhere right here as well, to try to get this thing over, and we'll go ahead and weld it in. As I was telling you, I had to remove those plugs right there because you can see these screw holes right here, and then there's one on the other side, was actually, I mean, the screw was really long, and it was causing to where this wouldn't even go up that far as it is now. And you know, I've even thought about maybe even welding these things up, because I've never used them before to drain out, you know, the floor for whatever reason. But I'm going to try to stick with them, I guess, and keep them in there. We'll just see. You'll know, because I'll be taking video of it. And like I said, with that being said, I promise now that I'm going to try to take video as I do this, because I told my wife this morning I need that camera. I've been looking for it. And here pretty soon I'll be getting it, and then, like I said, I'll be making videos as I progress this time, okay? But anyway, we'll go ahead and we'll end up welding all this right here. I've got to make a hole here and a hole here so that I can plug weld there. Same thing on the other side, and I don't know, I might do something on the bottom too. But there's a lot of other prep work that I need to be doing, like cleaning up right here where this is gonna go, and getting it ready to weld. And also, not only that, but I also need to get ready to you know, seal that up as well, because I mean, I'll have a little bit of a gap, but it's gonna be tough because I have every intention of POR 15 this entire car underneath and up on top as well. And then, of course, they gave you a plate, and I can't find it right now, but they gave you another plate where you could, you know, it's like I think it's 2 inches wide by 1/4 or so thick. You stick it right here, and then you weld it right there, and then you bolt it right here in between. You can bolt it, I guess. I don't know if I'm going to bolt it or weld it. I don't personally really see the difference, especially considering the fact if I got the welder already, and I'm welding this thing everywhere else, I might as well use the welder. But who knows, maybe I'll do both. Maybe I'll do welding and I'll do bolting it. Who knows? But nonetheless, now you can see the progress that I have made with this thing. And we're going to try to get these subframes put in. But first, again, a lot of cleaning to do. Some POR, some sealing, that kind of stuff. And then when that's all done, we're going to take out that rear axle. And when we take out that rear axle, that's when I'm going to be down over here trying to fix my little juicy shock tower repair that I made a long time ago in high school. It don't look too great. I'm going to make it look a lot nicer and a lot stronger. And then I'm going to go ahead and reinforce the other side, since it apparently doesn't seem to be cracking yet, but they have a history of doing so. Alright, well, that's all I got for today, because that's all I did yesterday. And again, I will definitely be taking video as I make progress from this time forward. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let everybody know what's going on here. Share it with everybody, because you know they want to see this. And we'll go from there. Thank you much.